text your guess to us, or you can call for free 0800 121 8080. Right, have a listen to this. A sound that we've heard a number of times before on the show. That's protesters outside the Newcastle landfill Wally's Quarry, talking about that place again on the show this morning, and the people's fight against the smell coming from it, because a young boy is going to the highest court in the land to get it dealt with, and producer Jack can bring us up to date with what's been going on.
I got wheezing.
That's the distressing sound of 5-year-old Matthew Richards from Silverdale asking for clean air. Health experts say his life is being shortened and his human rights breached by toxic gas coming from Wally's Quarry.
For me, thinking about this idea of child lung development, what's more dangerous is the long-term, chronic, daily, every breath exposure to these gases. And the data that come from the Environment Agency monitoring of the site suggests that those levels are far higher than the normal background levels, and they're far higher than studies that have shown respiratory problems.
Now Matthew is taking the Environment Agency to the Supreme Court to get them to do something about it and bring the toxic gas back to a safe level. The Environment Agency was ordered to do that by this month, back in September last year, but appealed against it and won.
The Environment Agency has won its appeal over a High Court judgment that would have forced it to make emissions from a Newcastle landfill cut by January.
This isn't the end. It's my 5-year-old child who's seriously ill. I'm going to keep fighting. As we speak now, it's being prepared for the Supreme Court.
Now Matthew's family are getting ready to head back to court to make their case once more. People living round Silverdale have been complaining for years about the bad smell, and those complaints have turned to protest.
We put up with it for such a long time, lighting candles. We just can't put up with it anymore. It's making us ill, it's making us sick. It's just absolutely disgusting. We're at our wits' end.
As soon as I open my bedroom door, I have an asthma attack or I'm physically sick because it's that horrific and strong.
Now, they're hoping Matthew's legal team can win in court again and get the Environment Agency to act.
There you go. So Matthew's family, including his mum, Becky Currie, have lodged an appeal to the High Court. It's basically Matthew's family and their supporters up against the Environment Agency in this saga over the smell coming from Wally's Quarry, which keeps rumbling on and on. I've been speaking to Becky, who's been telling me that this long, exhausting process is making her feel in a certain way.
It's been hard, and I'll be honest with you, just before Christmas I thought, I can't do this anymore, and I was ready to chuck the towel in. But then I'd had a really bad night with Matthew, then I thought, no, I've got to do this for my boys and my community.
So you're saying that the smell at the moment is getting significantly worse, are you, as we move through the winter months and weeks?
100% worse. I mean, the last 3 weeks have been horrific. And people are even putting on the campaign page that they're up all night, it's back in their homes. I think it's worse now than it was this time last year.
When you describe how bad it is, so basically even if you're sitting there with your windows and doors shut, which you were having to do through the summer months, even when it was really, really warm, you were having to keep everything closed to keep the smell out, you're now saying it's getting in anyway.
We were sitting here about a week and a half ago, just sitting downstairs, the boys had gone up to bed, and I thought, that smell, everything was shut. I went to the back door, wow, it was something else. It was absolutely horrific.
How emotional is it making you, Becky?
It makes it really, like I said, just before Christmas, I was ready to throw the towel in. It was depressing me, I'd had enough. But I have still got the fight in me. I will still carry on fighting.
How much is your willingness to keep on fighting being helped and backed by those people living around you? Because I know you've had tremendous support from people living around you who are experiencing exactly the same thing, so they know what you're going through.
I have messages daily. People are absolutely fantastic. They're all supporting me and behind me, every single one of them. And I mean, there's 11,000 people on that group.
The main thing here with this whole case is right at the middle of it is your little boy who's ill. He's not well. How's all this affecting Matthew? How's he been, as you've said, the smell's been getting worse?
Matthew hasn't changed really any at all. He's obviously more sensitive. Since Christmas, he's used his inhaler more and more and more again.
And for you as a mother who's fighting this in court and constantly fighting it on a day-by-day basis, what's it like for you having to see Matthew using his inhaler more and struggling more as a result?
It's heartbreaking, absolutely heartbreaking. I mean, no mother wants to be lying in bed listening to the son's coughing to the extent where he's choking, and I'm having to jump out of bed to go into him to make sure he's not vomiting and choking on his own vomit. It's horrific.
And the thing that annoys you most is that at the moment, with the smell, as you say, it's getting worse, there's nothing you can do to help him.
There isn't. You know, people say, why don't you move, why don't you move? It's not as easy as to just say, why don't you move? I'd love to move out the area, but I've also got a massive support bubble, all my family, you know, and to be fair, I've bedded on about 10 houses and, you know, got nowhere. So, you know, it isn't that easy just to move.
That's Becky Currie, mother of Matthew Richards, the young boy whose health is being made worse by the smell coming from Wally's quarry. He's the little boy at the centre of this legal case, basically. The Environment Agency has been in contact with us to say we recognise these odours continue to be extremely distressing for people living in the area, and we've reminded the operator that it must take the necessary steps to address this issue as an absolute priority. We continue to keep consideration of further enforcement action under review. You can follow all the developments in this very important case, of course, right here on BBC Radio Stoke. You can read more about it now by going to our Twitter feed at BBC Radio Stoke. Becky saying the smell is getting worse and worse. If you live in the Newcastle area, feel free to get in touch with us any hour of the day or night to share your story.